Hello.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Hannah Denny.
And I'm Hayley Roy. We're commercial interior designers at HARP Design. Our stand is over there. And we're the hosts of the Interior Design podcast. For the benefit of our listeners right now, because we're live at the No Vacancy Show at the London Excel, welcome to the show. Today, we're going to be talking about the hotel room of the future, a concept that's close to our hearts. If you're at the show, it stands C15 over that way. And through both our studio work and the podcast, we spend a lot of time talking about where hospitality design is heading and how, through our specification, we can help direct the design to be as responsible as possible. We like to help hotel owners make sure they're making the right choices, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be more expensive. And the hotel room of the future came directly from those conversations. A while ago, I was invited to sit on a panel at the Grower showroom at the Business Design Centre in London. Preparing for that panel led me to properly research, I'll catch up in a minute, to properly research the global water crisis. And what I found genuinely changed my perspective. I learned that over the next 20 years, water scarcity is expected to become one of the most defining global pressures of our time. It's increasingly recognised as a geopolitical risk. Access to clean water is already contributing to instability in certain regions, and some forecasts suggest that future conflicts may be driven not by oil, but by access to water. We're already seeing countries investing heavily in desalination plants, turning seawater into drinking water. But desalination is energy intensive and it's expensive. It's also really reactive. I remember thinking, if this is the direction we're heading in, why are we still designing hospitality bathrooms as if water is infinite? During that talk, I learned that Grower are developing taps, toilets, and systems that drastically reduce water use in their products, as well as many other brands. Let me ask the audience something. Can you put your hand up if you're currently working on a hospitality project? Woo. In this project that you're working on, have you had serious conversations about long-term water consumption? No. Not just fittings, but system-level change is what's needed. The gap between these is what started this. And when Dan Asser from No Vacancy invited us to design the stage, we asked him if we could put a fully working shower on the stage. He said no. But instead, he gave us something bigger. He gave us the space to design a whole hotel room at the show, and that's when this became an opportunity not just to create a concept piece, but to create a fully buildable hotel room that operators could implement tomorrow. Because instead of asking what's next aesthetically, we asked, what if a hotel room actually performed? Hotel rooms are typically being ripped out every 5 to 7 years, and around 50% of landfill waste comes from the construction industry. In hospitality, we contribute to that every time we strip out a room because the aesthetic feels dated. At the same time, operational costs are rising, guest expectations are rising, sustainability pressure is rising, and yet many rooms are still designed around trend cycles, which are really fast, and that model no longer makes sense.
So we built this room around 3 pillars: guest well-being, sustainability, and longevity. Every decision had to satisfy all 3. Let's start with well-being. If a hotel room only did one thing exceptionally well, what should it be? Sleep. Sleep is the core function of the hotel room. If you don't sleep well, you don't return. And yet we often design rooms to look impressive rather than to feel restorative. So we focused on calm, on acoustics, and material tactility, on reducing visual noise and comfort, which brings us to Simon Sleep.
He's over there. He's over there. Hi, Simon.
Yeah, he's waving. Simon Sleep is a UK-based sleep and wellbeing company founded by practicing osteopath Simon Bacon, whose work spans more than 3 decades of clinical experience treating posture, pain, and sleep-related dysfunction. I personally have a Simon Sleep pillow at home. I'm a side sleeper, and I've always found that pillows are either too hard, too soft, or too flat. You can call me Goldilocks. That good thing about the Simon Sleep pillow is that you can remove or add as much of the memory foam as you wish. To adjust this for hospitality world, Simon Bacon has produced standard pillows for the hotel industry. He is at the Hotel of the Future stand at C15 and will be doing talks throughout the day, today and tomorrow, if you want any more information. Luxury today isn't about shiny things. It's about the space that makes you feel, how the space makes you feel when you close the door.
So onto the bed. Not literally. We were here till really late last night, and Hannah might be jumping into the bed at 6 o'clock when the show closes and just having a little snooze.
I'm very sleepy.
Feel free to join us. It'll be like a big breakfast moment interview if you're old enough to remember that reference. The bed that we've put into the hotel room of the future features a system by FreshBed, which actively regulates your body temperature to support deeper, better quality sleep. It's sectioned individually on each side. So safe, for example, your husband and wife, your wife wants to be warmer than you, which is generally what happens in my bed because I've got a heated blanket on my side of the bed at the moment, and my husband doesn't. This bed ensures you both get a good night's sleep. And that matters because temperature regulation plays a critical role in sleep cycles. It isn't novelty technology, it's performance technology, and it supports the human biology. Athletes and celebrities who recognise this fact are on board already. Apparently Robbie Williams.
Maybe.
And a lot of the footballers have already got them. I mean, they are a 30-grand bed, so they're not currently accessible to a lot of the hotel industry, but it is the future, and it will filter down and become more accessible. In the centre of the room, we did something completely deliberate. We interrupted the calm. There's a bright image that demands attention and invites you to scan a QR code. That interruption is intentional. It invites interaction, it integrates technology in a fun, light-hearted way, and it turns the room from something you observe into something you engage with. Now let's come back to the bathroom, because this is where sustainability becomes really tangible. Industry data shows that bathrooms account for roughly 50 to 70% of total water consumption in a hotel. So if we're serious about sustainability, the bathroom isn't decorative, it's strategic.
So let me ask you a question. If bathrooms represent the highest water consumption in a hotel room, why are they so often the last space to be challenged technically? Why are we still refreshing finishes every 5 years but rarely questioning the systems behind the walls? This is where we felt responsibility.
Last year at Clerkenwell Design Week, we were recording the podcast at the Solar Showroom, and that's where we met Ian from Inside the Box Consulting. I don't know if he's here. He's probably on the stand over there at C15. Plug. The conversation felt aligned from the beginning. When this project emerged, it felt obvious to collaborate. Ian took the lead on the bathroom design, and Inside the Box were responsible for both the bathroom design and the build, because integrating something as technical as water recycling system requires a specialist leadership. We integrated a water recycling shower system by Orbital, and it filters and reuses water in real time, and there is a shower going round on the stand over there. It dramatically reduces water consumption, but the most important thing is the guest experience is not compromised. The pressure remains, the comfort remains, the luxury remains, and the guest doesn't change. The system performs. Because sustainability that relies on behavior change is inconsistent. Sustainability that is built into systems is reliable. Even this installation itself has been designed to be dismantled and reused after the show. And you can find out more from Peter from Orbital, who'll be doing talks throughout the day at stand number C15. Or on our website, if you're listening. When we're designing the hotel room of the future, nothing has been designed for landfill, because sustainability cannot stop at concept. It has to extend into delivery.
So now let's talk about longevity. Longevity is where environmental responsibility and commercial logic align. We selected materials and elements that can be maintained, repaired, and refreshed. Modular components, durable finishes, components that can evolve without full strip-outs. From the ger floor and interface flooring to the shower wall panels and the case goods. It has been designed with quality and sustainability in mind at every step. And we will be repurposing the whole room in our podcast studio. Quick question. How many of you have been involved in a project where a room was stripped out purely because it felt dated, not because it failed? Anyone? That's the cycle we need to disrupt. Design often chases trends, but the most sustainable hotel room isn't the newest looking one. It is the one that lasts the longest. When you design for life cycle, you reduce embodied carbon, you reduce waste, and you protect return on investment. Sustainability and profitability are not opposing forces. They align when design is responsible. We absolutely didn't build this room alone, and it's been a genuine collaboration from FreshBed to Orbital and an incredible network of partners across the furniture, lighting, textiles, flooring, wallpaper, and surfaces, including Contract Furniture Group, Inside the Box, Bow Concept, Egger, Interface, Gerfloor, iLive, Sunbury Design,
IBL Lighting, thank you Charlie for yesterday, Spark and Bell, also lighting, Dulux, Arte, Textura, Shower Wall, Crosswater, John Lewis, The Fine Cotton Company, Grower, Music Styling, Cosentino, Frontier Marble and Granite, thank you Dan, Simon Sleep, FDM Artwork, and last but not least, Chelsham Lighting.
When the right expertise come together, performance-led design becomes achievable, not aspirational. So come down and visit stand C15 next to the design stage. We've set up a web page for each supplier describing what we've chosen and why for each element of the design. This is linked to a QR code shown on the outside of the hotel room of the future, and we invite you to scan the QR code and learn more about what we've discussed today. For those of you listening online, we've put a link to the show notes so you can have a look at the different suppliers that we've specified for the hotel room of the future.
And the hotel room of the future isn't about predicting trends. It's about taking responsibility. And I feel really strongly as a designer that we have a massive responsibility to help our clients choose the right products and the right finishes and all of the right equipment for the spaces that we do in the right way, and doing it without spending stupid money, you know, within budgets, within the way that people can live, and making it a good return on investment so that you can trade profitably and make sure that your guests are getting everything that they need out of that space, as well as making sure that you're being the most sustainable as you can, so it feels really, really good. And it's about taking responsibility for guests, for operators, and for the planet. You know, I mean, I was having a conversation with Travelodge earlier, and they were talking about the actual buying power that they've got. You know, and they have. I've had a lot of conversations with suppliers who are. They can deliver sustainably if they've got the volume at the same price as not sustainably. But unless they get the volume, they can't get the price. So we need operators who are in volume situations to be talking to those people directly and saying, I've got the volume, let's work together. And I think that's really key in environmental, because a lot of people really, really want to develop these products that are more sustainable, but without volume, they can't deliver it at the same price. So it's really worth having conversations if you are in that situation where you are ordering for 10 rooms, 20 rooms, 100 rooms, that you can have that conversation with someone and can I get it more sustainable at that price? So, making sure that if you can do that, then you're helping somebody else do that who can't necessarily afford the volume, 100%. So it's really, really important that, we've got everybody on board with this, and then we can be more sustainable as a group. But it's for the planet, and it's a bit like B Corp. We've got Spark and Bell as one of our partners, and they are a B Corp company, and they say people, profit, planet, don't they? And that's what it's all about, and that's what you can be really sustainable without being B Corp. And I think it's the future of hospitality isn't about what's new. It's about what lasts, and we'd love to open up this for a conversation with everyone in the audience. So is there any questions?
Lovely.
Hello. Anyone want to be more sustainable and don't know how in their business? Anyone worried about money? No. This is very quiet.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah. Answered all the questions. Oh, hello. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier that the idea of having a turnaround with the bedroom design every 6 or 7 years is becoming a little dated. But what happens to the interior aesthetic of the room if you are putting things in that are going to last a lot longer? Doesn't it become tired and become a little bit boring?
That's a really, really good question. I'm going to come back to the stage and answer it. Thank you. I think the key area of making sure that you make something last is to make it refurbishable. So, for example, using something like solid wood is a really good way of doing that. I really wish that I'd put wooden cabinets on the front of my kitchen 5 years ago because I'm really bored of the grey, and I wish I could paint them, but actually because I put laminated cabinets, I've either got to use architectural film, which is quite expensive. Instead, I could have just painted them, So, it's about making those really informed choices of, right, I'm going to buy a chair like this, which has been repurposed from last year, that I can reupholster. It's easy to reupholster. It's easy to get it disassembled and reupholster it. So you buy a good quality product to start with that lasts, and then you update it. You don't leave it. You do refurbish after 5 years, but you don't throw it away. You update it. So there's a really, really good way of updating a hotel room where you can use something called architectural film. And if you don't know what that is, I'll be over there and I can explain it to you. But a lot of hotels throw away panel products. And if you use architectural film to wrap them instead, it's about the same cost as replacing it with new. It might be a little bit cheaper at times, depending on who you use. But it reduces the amount of downtime of your room, and it also increases the life of the product, and it is then you being more sustainable. So there's loads of tricks, but I think the key part of it is what we said earlier, is get that quality product to start with that you can refurbish, and then update it, redecorate it. Choosing the right products to start with is really important. And things like carpet, if you choose a recyclable carpet, which is actually becoming more popular, isn't it? I did a podcast with Sustainable Yarns, who makes sustainable yarns for carpets, for carpet tiles. And they're saying the biggest problem about recycling carpet is that it can't be recycled. So if you get a recyclable carpet, you can replace it in the future and it is more sustainable. Yeah. And that's where the industry is going. It's like slowly moving like an oil tanker. But choosing that quality product to start with will give you a better return on investment for your interior in the long run, absolutely. And then make sure you can update it. So reupholster and things like that, and make it so it's adaptable. So anything that's really high fashion, make it quite small, like a cushion, or the small things, but then the solid ground underneath, make that really good quality, and it will last, and it'll pay for itself time and time again. So that was a really long answer. Is that okay? Is there any more questions?
Hi. Paul from the Future Hospitality Institute. So, of course, future, really interesting to me. I think quite often when we hear about future rooms or future ideas, it's led by tech. So I commend that you're looking at it from a sustainability perspective. You haven't really mentioned tech, so I'd be interested to know if there's anything that you've put into it. What surprised you the most during your research and putting this together? And also, just sorry, one other question. Cost. You mentioned very, very expensive bed. I think one of the greatest barriers to sustainability is cost in the construction. Will people pay for it through increased room rates, etc.? This is a big debate as well. Yeah, just your thoughts around that.
Okay, what was the first question? What surprised us the most? Okay. Do you want to answer that one, or do you? So I think the water thing surprised me the most, because it is going to be a massive thing in the next 10 to 20 years. Like, the water shortage in the world, the population in the world is getting bigger. And
Not
our
to scare
water
people.
is... No, yeah. There's going to be wars. ChatGPT told me not to say that.
Slipped it in.
Yeah, sorry, ChatGPT. So I think the water thing really surprised me, because I wasn't aware of that. I really wasn't aware of that in everything that I'm doing. I know that people want to save water, but I thought it was a price thing. I didn't realise that it was an economy global issue. That was what surprised me the most. Tech, did I answer that? Is that right? Yeah, tech. Remembered that one. In terms of tech, we have got tech on the stand. It is something that we've integrated, but there is so many tech people here that we didn't want to kind of overrun you with AI, because everyone kind of is doing that right now.
And that's not our speciality.
No, we don't. We don't do tech. We let the AI guys do that. We love ChatGPT. But there is some ordering, in-room ordering, QR codes on the stand. There's
got music styling, haven't we?
The music is good. Go and listen to the music. It's beautiful.
Music playlists as well. So it is out there, and there are lots of stands here that you can kind of go and speak to about that. But yeah, it's definitely in there, and we're more than happy to kind of meet you over there and talk through it. And there is Peter from Orbital talking about the shower. We've got Simon Sleeps talking about his pillows, and we've also got Michael at FreshBed. So we'd love to kind of take you over and speak to you about what we've got in the room and why. But that can also be found on our website as well.
Yeah. I think that the tech thing is coming. There is going to be more of it. It's going to make our lives better. And I think a lot of people are afraid of it. And I love it. Like, we're embracing it in our business and using it to make us better. And it's really exciting what the future holds with that, especially with hotels. The hospitality industry needs something. We need a boost, don't we? And I think AI might be the one.
Hi. So we talk a lot about sustainability and on the opportunities we have in the future. But the question is, do you think from the design point of view, is the industry ready for sustainability? Because every time we offer our new sustainable product, which is slightly more expensive, the industry decides to go for the standard product and don't use other ones. So we have the feeling that the industry is not there yet. The politics have to do a little bit better. What do you see from design points of view?
I think that... Well, there's a step there. I think that the industry has got to do it at the same price. Like, it can't be more expensive. It's got to be the normal. And I think that the more volume we get towards the sustainability angle, and it is growing and it is coming, and if the bigger companies do it, it will be easier, And I think offering something more sustainable for more money is not an option. I think we need to be building it into our costs. And quite often, being more sustainable is actually less expensive. If your furniture works harder for you for a longer period of time and you refurbish it instead of replacing it, it will cost you less. So there are ways of doing it without it costing more, And there is, I mean, there is things that you can do that are more sustainable, that are more expensive and everything else, but there's also things that you can do that aren't. Reusing things is the main thing that's not expensive. So I think that the industry needs to catch up. Like the volume of the sustainable stuff, if the volume is there, then we will all benefit. So I think it is really key for any of the big hotel operators to really be looking at this and saying, I want to have that sustainable product at the same price as that. How do I get there? And I think that's the question really that a lot of the big hotel chains need to be asking and need to be using their buying power to be able to help the industry move forward with it. Does that answer your question? Anyone else?
I think that's it.
Thank you, everyone,
Thank you so much.
coming to our podcast today. We will be posting it online on YouTube. Please follow us on all the channels, all the socials, all the podcast channels, and we'd love to have you as a subscriber. And we hope that you've got some benefit out of this today. We hope that we have enlightened you, or hope that we can help you improve your business. And we'll see you next time.
Enjoy the No Vacancy Show.
Enjoy the No Vacancy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.